All right. Okay. Okay, guys. We're going into one more PragerU video, okay? We're going into one more PragerU, and this one's the big one. It's with the final boss. The final boss of PragerU.
Okay.
It's Mr. Prager himself. The only redeeming factor of these videos are this little chunker down here. Yes, it's King Prager. Indeed. Indeed. Now, we're going to watch this video. It's only 30 minutes, but it's going to feel like an eternity. Okay? I have suspicions that if science ever figures out like stasis for long-range space travel, all they're going to do is put you in a tube, and the only thing around you is going to be Dennis Prager talking to you about conservatism, okay? And it will put you into a deep, deep coma for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until you reach your destination. Now, I've done one of these before, and it went absolutely wild places. You can see already the topics. Great to be with you. When cheating and lying are moral. Why the left is a cult. What is the fruit of your ideology? And cutting out family over politics. Oh yeah, we watching this whole thing. We're gonna eat the whole plate. And after this, we will have a palate cleanser with the Gravel Institute, because I haven't seen any of their videos before, and it'll be good. Is this a masochistic stream? I guess so, because I've watched 2 PragerU videos and a Ben Shapiro video today, but I'm still hungry. I need more to dig my teeth into. Ben Shapiro didn't offer me anything. He was just really mad about Joe Biden saying things. So we're gonna watch this, and hopefully, if we're alive by the end, we're going to we're gonna be okay. Okay. This is the worst they can throw at us, people. Nothing will ever get worse than this. When you're lined up by the wall and the fascists have their guns to your head, you can remember that you've survived worse. You've survived worse. You've watched an entire video with Dennis Prager himself. Vaccines for bigger stupidness? Exactly. Come get your vaccinations, children. We're going deep. We're going deep. This is truly some deep penetration here. The high-level ideas. All right, here we go.
Hey everybody, hi, great to be with you. Isn't that funny for me to say great to be with you?
Wait, why I don't have the options for closed captions. Why? Aren't they auto-generated? Oh, that sucks. Anyway.
In what sense am I with you? Well, I really am with you, but I'm not physically with you.
Thank God.
But I am with you. Anyway, I analyze everything, so forgive me. It's a very strange beginning, but hey, the whole thing's spontaneous. On behalf of Otto, I welcome you. And Otto welcomes you on behalf of me. What's he doing? Oh, he's awake. Well, this is a major moment to have a fireside chat. It's a special dog.
Good doggo.
All right, everybody.
He doesn't know his master's a piece of shit.
So what I do each week, and we haven't missed in years now, wow, is offer you some thought.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna say that this isn't a video where he says that laws are the only things preventing him from raping people, but you never know. He throws a lot of curveballs at you. You know? We'll see.
Thoughts about life or about current events, and then take your questions. So I have an interesting question and an important one. I'm not going to address the whole issue of the American elections being honest, not honestly counted. I just want to address one interesting moral question that is worth thinking about. Donald Trump has been accused by all of the left, Democratic Party, the various newspapers, and social media and so on, for 4 years of being a white supremacist, a fascist
He is, yes.
and a dictator.
He's
right?
He's,
I mean, that's...
well, no. He's two of those things. He's a fascist and a white supremacist. He's not a dictator because we live in a democracy and our institutions prevent him from becoming a dictator. So far. Now, my worry was if he won a second term, he would be able to further erode our institutions and basically have some sort of, make some sort of play for dictatorial power. But no, he's the first two things. Yeah, he's a wannabe dictator. Exactly. Can you turn the volume down? And no.
Normative accusations of Donald Trump. So if you are counting ballots, you are a Democrat in a Democratic-controlled city and area, precinct or county, and you have the chance to cheat with regard to the voting count, and you believe that Donald Trump is a fascist and a white supremacist and a dictator, why wouldn't you cheat? I would.
Yeah, we know, Dennis Prager. We know you don't like democracy. The left, at the very least. You can say a lot of things. Yeah, we're gonna speed this up because he talks real slow. But, yeah, this will be fine. The right is all about projection, guys. Like, literally everything that comes out of their mouths, they project. He thinks that Democrats would cheat because that's what he would do. You know, that, like, this is wild. Republicans in the 2016 election thought that Hillary Clinton was going to bring the beginning of World War III. So yeah, Dennis Prager, I have to ask, do you think Republicans cheated when they counted the votes in the 2016 election? Because that was a thing that Republicans believed, Dennis Prager. But here's a saving grace. Democrats are spineless about a lot of things. But the one thing mainstream Democrats are not spineless about is supporting the idea of democracy. I do not think people on the ground and the contingencies against cheating in this election could have been so thoroughly duped by one-off actors in counting ballots that we wouldn't have caught them already. All right.
I admit it. If I were counting votes in any country, and I believed that a candidate that I could stop from winning by
Whoa.
cheating was a fascist and a white supremacist and a dictator, I would cheat. I mean, just there were times when cheating or lying is moral. If I were saving a Jew, I was hiding a Jew in Nazi-occupied Europe, and the Nazis came to the door and said, "Are you hiding a Jew?" I would lie. It would be the right thing to do. Preventing a fascist white supremacist dictator from becoming the leader of a country is the right...
Yeah, and this is a real good point, Tommy Real Pro. They have bipartisan observers, like from both parties. Both parties observe the counting. What you're alleging here would be a massive conspiracy to commit voter fraud. It would be highly illegal, and it would be very obviously caught by a lot of people involved. God.
Right thing to do. So I'm not making any accusation. I am only saying that there is no...
I don't know, Dennis Prager. It sounds like you're making an accusation here.
No moral reason why a Democratic operative in a voting center wouldn't feel morally obligated to cheat. So either they have been saying these things just to attack the president, or they and not really believe it, just said it for effect, or they really believe it, and I think many of them really believe it. So, what's to stop them? Not morality. Just a thought.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I had to process that for a moment. That's right. Dennis Prager doesn't believe that you can have morals if you are not like a right-wing conservative Christian. So, like, yes, in Dennis Prager's view, no one on the left can be moral or have a moral compass or cares about morality. So, obviously, they would cheat and undermine democracy. Whew.
Another subject related to not to the count, but related to the issue.
Wait! That was the entire segment? I thought he was going to have something more to back it up. I thought that he... Wait, I genuinely thought that he was going to go somewhere with this. I thought, like, he was going to cite, like, some story or do something with this point. He just was just like, yeah, I think Democrats cheated or are being hypocritically disingenuous. I guess that was his point. Because he, with the underlying assumption that Democrats can't be moral. All right. Anyway, let's hear him talk about this.
How Americans are getting along. Right after the 2016 election, the New York Times, when Donald Trump was elected president, to everybody's shock, including my own, I might add, there was a front page article in the New York Times about a week later, because in the United States, and I'm saying this because a lot of you are outside of the United States, in the United States we have the big holiday of Thanksgiving a few weeks after Election Day. And the article in the New York Times noted that Thanksgiving was going to be disrupted in many homes because a lot of people were not prepared to have a Thanksgiving dinner with a friend or relative who had voted for Donald Trump. We don't know of anybody, I mean, I'm sure it exists, but we don't know of anybody where it went the other way around. Oh, you voted for Hillary Clinton. I won't have Thanksgiving dinner with you. I'm laughing because I simply don't, I can't imagine somebody saying that. I'm not saying it hasn't been said, but I can't imagine.
Does Dennis Prager not understand that Donald Trump literally took away people's rights to do things based on who they are? Does he not get that? Trans people got kicked out of the military. Do you know how many trans people serve in the military? Half my community are ex-Marines who transitioned. Half of I'm not even joking there. Like it's basically like half of y'all are trans Marines. It's amazing, and I love you very much. But like around 56% of trans people serve in the military. Around 56% serve in the military. Trans people got kicked out for no reason. Literally for no reason, against the wishes of the Pentagon. It's very high because a lot of trans people tend to be very economically disadvantaged. It's very expensive to transition. And in this country, if you don't have the money, fuck you, you're not getting health care. So a lot of trans people join the military, either to try and repress that the understanding that they're trans and like kind of get it beaten out of them in like boot camp and service and stuff, or to gain access to education, much like other disadvantaged groups do, or to get the health care that will cover transition. So there's a lot of issues here that play into most trans people serve in the military. So that got cut off for trans people. And by the way, when you kick an entire group of people out of a certain large civic institution, it further others them in the wider society. Do you know how many conservatives don't know why trans people got kicked out of the military? Because it's a lot. A lot of conservatives don't understand why it happened. They just think that there must have been a pretty good reason, otherwise it wouldn't have been done. But the reality is, there wasn't a good reason. It was just done because fuck trans people for being different. And like also the Trump administration talked to the Supreme Court about getting rid of the right to gay marriage. The Trump administration tried to strip trans people of equal protections in healthcare institutions. For example, there was a period for about a couple months before a wait, are trans welcome now? I heard if you agree to not have any surgeries, lol, I know it's awful. No, trans people are still not allowed in the military as far as I know. And the other aspect is that well, and also the reasoning of their surgeries cost too much is complete bullshit, because we had trans people in the military serving openly for years, and the data we have on it indicates that it's less than 0.1% of the military's healthcare budget. So yeah, it's not an issue. It's not an issue. So let's see, because it mentioned sex, which meant only biological, but it's not true. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, the issue is, if you're discriminating based on sex, inherently by denying people rights based on their sex, this would be something that would apply also to transgender people, because you're discriminating against them because you do not believe they are presenting as the correct sex. Anyway, yeah, cost is definitely not an issue. Yes, it's definitely blind hate. So things like this, like if you're gay or if you're trans and the Trump administration has explicitly tried to deny you rights, if you are friends with gay and trans people and the Trump administration has tried to deny them rights, if you like are in those boats, or if you've been, you've had your Mima died from COVID-19 when it swept through a nursing home, or you lost your dad because he had pre-existing conditions and he caught COVID. Like, yeah, these are excellent reasons to be cutting other people out of your life because they support Trump, because Trump's policies, his administration's policies, enabled all of that stuff explicitly and undeniably. So this is the issue I have. At this point, the cost of taking care of military amputees is many times greater than a sex change operation. Absolutely. Yeah, he enables violence against the weakest and smallest groups in our society. And he does it mostly because he can and because a lot of his supporters like it. They like it. So this is a thing. When people get people out of their family, when they cut them off, it's largely because of these issues, because Trump has actively hurt people and continues to actively hurt people, and it does not seem to be slowing down when it comes to any of this. Like, yeah, like remember weeks ago, months ago during the debates, he said, yeah, we're going to have a new healthcare plan to replace the Affordable Care Act in a couple weeks. We don't have it yet. And we're not going to. Because the Affordable Care Act was a Republican plan. It was Romney's Medicare for All plan. It was the Republican answer to a Democrat plan. And Obama picked it up and passed it in an effort to build bridges with Republicans, and they just said, fuck you. And they said, fuck you. And they have, in the 12 years they've had, they haven't been able to come up with anything better. Nothing better. They just keep saying they'll come up with a better plan while they repeatedly try and repeal the plan that exists right now without having any backup plan at all. So, like, yeah, this hurts a lot of people. It's awful. So yeah, I think it's very reasonable. I know I'm kind of going in circles. I think it's very reasonable to cut people out of your life if they are advocating for policies that actively hurt you and people that you care about. Let's hear Dennis Prager finish his speech about how this is bad.
Imagine it being said. And this has been a crisis for 4 years in the United States of terrible proportions, to the extent, and I know about it, to the extent that children, and I don't mean 10-year-olds, I mean 25, 30, 40-year-olds, won't talk to a parent who voted for Donald Trump. Parents call me up and tell me that their children not only don't talk to them, they don't allow them to see their grandchildren, the children of the children, because the parent/grandparent voted for Donald Trump. And
yeah, because maybe this should be setting off alarm bells for conservatives, you know? Maybe it should be a sign that you're going down a fascist way of thinking, that you're going down a conspiracy-laden rabbit hole from which you will never return. So who's really at fault? I think the people who choose to support a fascist conspiracy nut. Yeah, I think those people. The people who saw a fascist conspiracy nut with plans to hurt people and said, yes, that's something I want in my country.
And this is one of the reasons that I believe that the left, not liberals, I always make a distinction, there's a huge distinction between a liberal and a leftist. This is one of the many reasons I have come to understand that the left is a cult. Because one of the distinguishing characteristics of cults is that they frequently sever relations between the members of the cult and their parents. Breaking up family ties is a very common thing in cults, and breaking parental authority is huge.
Again, I need to remind you that just a few sentences ago, Dennis Prager was talking about 25, 30, 40-year-old kids. Your children have every right not to associate with you, especially if they're adults and can make their own decisions. This is, by the way, this is like saying being trans is a cult because trans people frequently cut off contact with their parents without, like, you know, making the context clear that, like, trans people cut off contact with their parents because, like, you know, their parents don't support them or won't, like, accept them as their new gender. Yeah, like, maybe there's an underlying reason why they're cutting you out, and it's not just arbitrary, Dennis Prager. Maybe it's because, much like you said up here, people on the left believe that the people that you're supporting, and they believe for good reason, that Donald Trump is a fascist white supremacist with aspirations towards dictatorship. Yes, and all of those things are true. They've been proven true time and time again. Remember, guys, during the election a few weeks ago, he, in front of thousands of people, called for the arrest of his political opponents. Remember, months ago, he called to stop and postpone the election, despite the fact that our Constitution explicitly calls for an election. If we did not have the democratic institutions around him that were strong enough to resist his calls, we would be living under a dictatorship of Trump for who knows how long. This is my issue. This is my issue. A cult distances people and influences people to distance themselves from people close to them because for made up spiritual brownie points. This isn't what's happening here with the left. The left is cutting people out because those people are advocating for policies that hurt them and the people they care about. And it's as simple as that.
You owe them nothing. You owe the cult everything. And when I was talking about this on my radio show, I offered this thought. One way of measuring an ideology, secular or religious, is how does it affect a person's relationship with his or her parents? Does it bring parents and children together, or does it separate and alienate them from one another? So I was thinking about children, adult children, who become Christian.
No, no, no. No, 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 no. This is a horrible way to judge an ideology, because you can have two parents who are within a cult, and if you distance yourself from them, this is Dennis Prager telling you that you're in a cult, because you distanced yourself from people who are in a cult. This is wild to me. This is a wild line of thinking. Whether or not you are in the same ideological vein as your parents does not determine whether or not your parents' ideology is worth adhering to.
Or become religious Jews. And in every case that I know, doesn't mean in every case on earth, but in every case that I know, it actually brought parents and children more together, even if the parents did not accept that religious faith. But Christianity and the Christian faith, Christianity, Orthodox Judaism, would tend to have you try to reconcile with your parents. Because if nothing else, both accept the Ten Commandments, which has a law, the famous law, honor your father and mother. There's no such law in leftism.
What the fuck is he talking about, guys? Wait, I need to listen to that again.
Accept that religious faith. But Christianity and the Christian faith, Christianity on earth, but in every case that I know, it actually brought parents and children more together, even if the parents did not accept that religious faith. But Christianity and the Christian faith, Christianity, Orthodox Judaism, would tend to have you try to reconcile with your parents. Because if nothing else, both accept the Ten Commandments, which has a law, the famous law, honor your father and mother. There's no such law in leftism. And
would he be saying the same thing if, like, a kid adopted Buddhism, though? Like, I feel like the reason he said Judaism is because it shares certain commonalities with Christianity. If it was very different, I don't know that it would be that he would be saying this. It's true, only Christians exist in this world. I forgot, guys. Yeah, I mean, like, this is some wild shit of, like, leftists don't have morals because they have no God, which is, A, not true. There are plenty of religious leftists, and B, there are, like, even if you are atheist, you still have morals. This is wild. Trump just said, oh, yeah. Tommy Real Pro, I saw that Golden Goose tweet. We'll get to it. We'll definitely get to it. This has been a really not good, just kind of baffling takes from Dennis Prager. Real half-baked ideas today.
that's a big difference. So when you measure or judge what ideology to adopt,
J-Bozov, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it very much.
Will I be a kinder, finer human being? Not just am I taking a great position, but how will it affect me? Will I be kinder? Will I be more desirous of bonds with the people in my life?
Dang, Dennis Prager, that's good point, Dennis Prager. Good point. You should judge your ideology that way. You should judge your ideology that way. Good job, Dennis Prager. You should be a socialist. You should be a socialist. Why wouldn't you be a socialist, Dennis Prager? Yeah, by the way, we're 10 minutes in at 1.5 speed. We're trying to chug through this, okay? But Dennis Prager should be a socialist if he wants to rebuild the ties with other people in his community. Just realized this section is long as shit. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that tends to happen when he has nothing to say and is just meandering.
Will I be a more wonderful, honest human being? Those are very important considerations. And
then you shouldn't be conservative, because conservatives tend to hate trans and gay people, black and brown people, or at the very least take a lot of stances against these groups of people, or economic stances that go against these people. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, You shouldn't be conservative if you're going by this standard of PragerU.
My experience in life has been that the more left people get, in most instances, the meaner they get. I hate saying this because I wish it weren't true. I don't hold this true for liberals.
Maybe they're meaner to you, Dennis Prager. Maybe they're meaner to you. Jeez Louise. Dennis Prager, you realize, like, leftists are nice to each other? Like, wait, did Dennis Prager look at, like, the Antifa movement and, like, the, you guys remember there was, like, a rib place that just, like, would go around and bring food to people who were protesting in the street? Some real good some real good praxis going on there. Did Dennis Prager look at that and just go, man, those are some real cruel people out there, giving food to people who need it? Man, leftists, am I right? It's wild. This is all wild. Garth Knutson 80, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. You know, we're building up a leftist community here, and I'm your resident socialist to say hello, and we should be socialists. You know, very, very basic message I have. It's interesting he said only the Oxford Jews, the ones that were forced to be baptized as Christian. Dang. Yeah, these homeless people, so entitled, living on the street.
I don't hold this true for conservatives, but it seems to be that way. To stop talking to a parent because they voted for someone you can't stand? Wow.
It's not because they voted for someone you can't stand. It's this. By the way, this framing is like Donald Trump has like an irritating voice, and you just don't like it when he's on TV. You're welcome. But like the framing of this makes it seem like it's like a minor annoyance to people on the left, rather than a point of like survival for them and their friends, like the people they care about or other members of their family. Like, yeah, conservative ideology has actual effects on the world. I know a lot of conservatives and a lot of like neoliberals too, like not to let the left off the hook, but like they treat politics like it's a game, like it doesn't have any actual effect. They just want their team to win, and like politics affect a lot of people, and they affect you more if you're poor too. Like, yeah, if you're rich, you might have to pay more in taxes. That's not great. But if you're poor, you can get really fucked over by politics.
I know this comes as a shock to a lot of people on the left, but people on the right couldn't stand Hillary Clinton as much as people on the left couldn't stand Donald Trump. But they didn't stop talking to their parents or deprive their parents of their grandchildren.
Exactly, Sophie. Like, leftists actually have skin in the game. There are actual stakes for leftists. Oh yeah, and the money also plays into it. Totally, 100%.
If the parent voted for Hillary Clinton. It's a very important question. What type of person does an ideology produce? Okie doke, let's go to your questions. And we begin.
This is my favorite part.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Reezy. I'm 20 years old and I'm from New York. I had a question regarding abortion. So recently I've seen the claim going around that people who are pro-life aren't actually pro-life, they're just pro-birth and don't care about what happens to the baby after it's born. I was wondering how you would respond to that claim. Thank you so much.
Well,
True.
Thank you, Reezy.
True.
That, I just want you to know that you've seen that claim. You're 20 years old. So you've seen that claim going around, and I want you to know that this claim went around when I was 20 years old. It is a typical left-wing attack on people they differ with, that they're really just scum. That's the general left-wing view of...
No. The view that was in the thing is that you're pro-birth because you don't provide support after people are born. That's the claim. So address the claim, Prager.
People they don't agree with. I've never quite seen the proof to that horrible charge. We just want you born, and then we don't give a damn about you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
It's so preposterous. So here's a very simple question. I've never seen the data, but I've lived a full and long life, and I can tell you that I would love to see the data on who is more likely to adopt a child with disabilities, a leftist or a religious Christian. And I would bet my house, and that's a big deal. I love my house, and it's the essence of...
What the fuck does that have to do with the claim? A, he's never seen the data, and B, what does this have to do with the girl's central claim? Her claim was not religious Christians are more likely to adopt kids with disabilities. So why is this what he's addressing?
The savings I have. But I would bet my house that...
I'm kidding his house.
disproportionately, the pro-life Christian, Catholic Christian, is more likely to adopt a child with disabilities than a pro-choice leftist. Okay? That's real life. That's not one of these generalized attacks. I have no problem with generalizations, providing they're based on reality. So what they mean, I assume, is they don't care about when people are born because they're against bigger government. But that you could say about people who have nothing to do with abortion. Their belief is that if you don't want the government to constantly get bigger, you don't care about people. Of course, it's often quite the opposite. Because the more the government takes care of people, the less people take care of people. That's why Americans, well, first of all, conservatives give more charity than people on the left, including liberals. That's just data. You could check that data. Do conservatives or liberals give more charity in the volunteer more time? Look that stuff up. But what we really have that's even clearer than that is Americans give more charity and volunteer more time than Europeans do. And there's a very simple reason. Europeans are trained, because they're all trained by the left, they are trained to believe that the government will take care of the poor and the sick. I don't have to take care of the poor and the sick. I don't even have to take care of the poor and sick in my own family. The government will. That is why I have a speech on the internet. I gave it at the University of Wyoming. Socialism makes you selfish. And you should, if I may say that, you should watch it.
Okay. So I was really hoping that at any point in any of that, he would actually address her question. None of what he said addressed her question, which was the Conservative Party is pro-birth, and they don't give a damn about you after you're born. So here's the issue, guys. Here's the issue. Now, I'm willing to accept, even without seeing the data, that conservatives give more to charity. Largely, though, this is a result of conservatives being wealthier than people on the left. Because conservatives tend to be capitalists who vote for their best interests. So, it's not surprising to me that people on the right give more to charity, because guess what? We have incentives in this country to give to charity. But when an individual gives to charity, they're determining where the money is going, so there's a certain amount of bias about who gets the money, right? On top of that, you're including donations to churches, you're including a lot of things. But here's the issue. Charity only does so much. Charity does not address all of the needs of our society, and that's something that is very plainly evident if you have eyes. If, by the way, if the rich getting richer led to charity addressing all of our problems in society, we would have known that by now, because the rich have been getting richer since the 1970s, consistently. Like, income inequality has never been higher than it is right now in America. And in fact, on top of that, economic mobility has never been lower than it is right now in America. So, on top of this, what Dennis Prager is saying is that, well, conservatives give more to charity, so obviously, you know, conservatives are not just pro-birth. That seemed to be his most cogent argument out of all of that mess. But part of the problem is leftists are pushing for the decommodification of things like healthcare. And if we just take a look at that, by the way, here's a statistic for you. I work with a national charity in the United States, right? And this charity deals specifically with children's health. And this charity helps fill the gaps between what people can pay, like between basically the gap between well, for poor people, like who can't pay for their children's medical expenses. And guess what? Guess what, guys? In this country, in the great old United States of America, there are 45 million children born into families who are uninsured or underinsured, meaning that there are 45 million kids in the United States right now who have incomplete healthcare coverage. And that is even with charity. That's with charity on top of all of that. Charity is a small band-aid on a much, much larger problem that can only be addressed with sweeping policy changes by the government. And when Dennis Prager's like, well, the government, big government is inherently bad. Does Dennis Prager think that big government is bad when it bails out oil companies? Does Dennis Prager think that big government is bad when it bails out Boeing? Does Dennis Prager have problems when our bank industry was bailed out for trillions of dollars? Does Dennis Prager have a problem when the rich in this country were given a $2.3 trillion tax cut by the Trump administration? No, he doesn't. And my position is, I have the crazy notion that instead of giving all this money to private corporations, to private individuals, to increase the profits of private companies, that we should actually instead use the government, which in a democracy, I am told, is supposed to be a manifestation of the will of the people, to do better by our fellow man. And by doing better, I mean we should give people health care. We should give people health care because not just adults need health care, but children need health care, and their ability to get health care should not be dependent on how much money they have. And I think this is something fundamental that people should understand. And I know that technically the United States is not a democracy, but guess what? We've based so much of our ideology and rah-rah-rahing around the world about our freedom and the representation of our people in the government. And you know what? I think our country would be a far better place if we actually lived up to what we believe America is and can be. So, yeah, I'm a socialist. I am a socialist. But I'm a socialist because I believe that these policies make people more free. Because when people can get health care, when they can get housing, when they can get electricity and water and food and internet, when they can get all of these things, it improves all of us. It has knock-on effects for generations to come. And it puts us all on an even playing field to achieve as much as we can and be the best we can be. Okay? This is what I want for America, and I think that this is far better than the poor, best of all possible world that Dennis Prager believes in these videos. Because he doesn't give a single shit about any of the kids born after they go out into the world. As far as he's concerned, they should rely on private charity, and if they can't, well, then their parents should have worked harder. And that's his position. Fuck those kids. That's his position. They should have been luckier. They should have been born into a richer family. Anyway. Let's continue.
Okay, Amy, 27, Germany. Hi, Mr. Prager. I'm an Egyptian, so I guess it's Ami, not Amy. I'm an Egyptian studying in Germany. Your wisdom is something I wait to listen to every week. Thank you.
Oh, God.
My question is, what do I do if both my professors and other students in class are always very aggressive in attacking conservatism/capitalism? I feel like giving up and just keep my views to myself because the aggression escalates very quickly and I feel alone in the fight. First of all, let me just say that if you're an Egyptian living in Germany, obviously your two primary languages are Arabic and German. It's pretty good English. I gotta say that. That's
He's so racist. He says this by the way, he says this every time someone from a foreign country sends him a message on this show. I watched it last time, and he got a video from a girl who lives in a mansion in the Dominican Republic, and the first thing he said was, "Wow, you can speak English very well." He thinks so little of people from other places in the world.
I mean, I hope I meet you once, or even twice. So let's see. What do I do about they escalate the aggression? You feel like giving up. So I've been thinking about this a lot because I've been getting this question for years. If I speak up, I may lose my family, like I just described earlier. I may lose friends. I may be removed from everybody's Facebook page. I may be attacked on social media. I may even get fired from my job.
Thank you very much for the cheer, beer nutter. Thank you very much for the 100 bits.
Because the left is mean, and that's true. We don't do that to them. So here's a thought. 70 million Americans voted for Donald Trump. 70 million Americans, essentially, or whatever the number would be, but half of America voted.
Yeah, I do want to remind you that the Ben Shapiro video we watched shortly before this one was essentially him mocking Joe Biden for being nice. And this video is all about leftists are mean. It's wild how much these people, like, you understand, guys, like, part of the reason I watch a bunch of conservative videos is to point out there is nothing you could do to get through to these people. These people have inconsistent ideologies. These people have no underlying position other than fuck you if you're poor. And private businesses deserve money.
Conservative, voted Republican. Imagine if they all spoke out. Imagine if 70 million Americans just decided, I don't care about what will be done to me on social media or by friends who really don't like me, apparently, but I am no longer willing to hide what I stand for.
Dennis Prager.
This country would change radically.
Dennis Prager, have you ever been on Twitter?
Because they believe correctly that if they bully conservatives enough,
Facebook, Dennis
they will
Prager?
Force them to shut up. I receive letters because I'm involved in...
They will force them to shut up? What does he think that leftists are going to do to Trump people? Like, pull out their AK-47s and Kalashnikovs? Dang it, my joke fell flat because I don't know how to say the word. Yeah, this is like the other day, guys. I had someone in chat who is basically of the position that, like, there was a double standard because BLM was allowed to go out into the streets and protest while conservatives were not allowed to go to church. Except I had to point out to this person that no, BLM was not allowed to go out and protest. BLM went out and protest even when it was illegal. And they took the brunt of it. They took the consequences. People got their eyes shot out and their legs broken and their heads bashed in. Like, they took the consequences of going out anyway. Conservatives can't take the consequences of standing up for their own beliefs and their own positions. And that's part of the thing that differentiates them from us. Because leftists tend to stand for something and actually give a shit about it. People on the right? No, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And the people who do care, by the way, on the right, the people who do speak out on the right, they're like the worst people imaginable. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, these people that show up with, like, Kekistan flags at counter protests in order to, assault black people. Like, they're the worst of humanity. You know, we saw the Unite the Right rally, guys. We saw it. Y'all showed up en masse to declare with one voice what you stood for. And you know what you stood for? You stood for Nazism. You were shouting about how Jews were evil. You were shouting about how blacks were inferior. You shouted slogans from Nazi campaigns. We know what you guys are, okay? Even if you hide it behind, like, veneers of respectability. And we know that you aren't going to stand up for it because you, deep down inside, know it's not worth standing up for. So, I don't know. Yeah, blood and soil. Indeed. That's what they stand for.
Music, I receive letters from members of orchestras in the United States. And they tell me that they just can't say anything for fear of, if they, they may get thrown off the orchestra, but their bigger fear is just being ostracized by their colleagues, which is a bad thing in an orchestra. You need each other very much in an orchestra. But I know how prevalent this is, and we need a campaign to get people to speak up. If 1/10 of those who voted for Donald Trump came out of the closet, it would be very dramatic.
Fuck. As a queer person, hearing Dennis Prager say "come out of the closet" hurts me in my soul. But also, I just have again to really hammer it home. And Sophia, you make a, or so, do you go by Sophia or do you go by Sophie A? I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Yeah, it's not even equivalent when their reactionaries come out, when their neo-Nazis show up, because the police don't pepper spray neo-Nazis. They just don't. Now, the other point I wanted to really make was the conservatives are so oppressed. But the point I really wanted to make was, like, if even 10% of us came out of the closet and stood up for conservatism, what are you gonna say? Like, are you gonna say the N-word? Like, that's like the equivalent of conservatives coming out of the closet here, okay? Like, what are you not saying that you can't say in polite company right now, Dennis Prager? Like, come on now. Oh, you changed your legal name to Sophia, but you go by Sophie. Oh, that's a great name. Thank you very much. Also, by the way, I'm seeing a lot of people in chat, a lot of new names. Feel free to join the Discord. It's a fun place, okay? We share a lot of pet pics and talk about our days, and it's a good time. You have a good night, Potato Butt Plug. Your name is very fun to say. I enjoy it very much, and I'm glad you came into this stream. I really like your emojis. I'm glad I fricked your sleep schedule. Well, I hope you get really good sleep, okay? Oh, and thank you. I wasn't fishing for a compliment about my cuteness, but I appreciate it. Yeah, come back again anytime, okay? All right. Let's finish this video. We still have a long way to go.
7 million Americans just saying, I will no longer be bullied by left-wing totalitarians.
Fuck.
So I would say...
Yes, truly it is the left who are the totalitarians in this country. All right, get some good sleep, Comrade Manners. But yeah, if you can't sleep, come back. We'll still be going. You have a good one, okay? And if you have pets, please share them on the Discord. I love seeing the pets. He's being bullied by the ghost of Stalin. True.
Say to you, Ami, that's right. You're not the only one in Germany who thinks like you do. There aren't many, but they're not non-existent either. So good luck. It's easier for me to advise than for you to do. I fully acknowledge that, but that's my advice.
I really want to see the student motivated by Dennis Prager to have a my captain moment. in the middle of his econ college class, standing up on his desk and defending valiantly the forces of capital that oppress him. That'd be amazing. It'd be really good.
Rui 60, Belém para Brazil. Mr. Prager, I'm a Brazilian fan of yours. Thank you. Obrigado.
Yeah.
My question is, do you really, and really is capitalized, think multi-millennial Judeo-Christian Western civilization has any chance to survive 50 more years? I don't capitalize the O-N-apostrophe-T. Unfortunately, it's doomed to perish by 2050. Well, so let me tell you.
I feel like this question came from a neo-Nazi. Okay, interesting.
It's the Judeo part of the Judeo-Christian, and I'm a big believer in Judeo-Christian values.
Again, guys, Judeo-Christian values largely are a thing that started as a reaction against the rise of Nazism during World War II and prior to World War II in the United States. No, Dennis Prager, I don't think Prager's Jewish. I think Prager is Christian, but he conflates Christianity and Judaism quite often. And over the years, Judeo-Christian values has basically evolved into a term that is more or less along with the the war on terror. It evolved into a term that basically was meant exclusively to ostracize Muslim people and brown people. It's one of those things that's kind of like a dog whistle. Let's see. Just another black single mother here struggling under Democrats. Finally woke up and realized forgot to swap accounts. Oh gosh, y'all are funny.
That one author wrote a book about the Jews, and he called them the ever-dying people. Jews are always dying out, and by golly, they're still here.
Why is he smiling so gleefully, like rattling off that quote? Why is he so jolly about this? He's literally talking about genocide. Why is he like this? Imagine how blessed he must be to go through life and just be this oblivious.
This is not going to die out. It's inconceivable. You think by 2050 every Christian is going to end up being a secular leftist? I'll tell you
the Roman Empire will never die out. It's been around for 2,000 years. It's inconceivable. Whoops.
Interesting thing. It is growing. It's growing in Africa. I expect an African pope in the not-too-distant future. I see both Protestantism and Catholicism having a renaissance in Africa. So the West has decided to die. They don't have children. They get married much less. They have far fewer children. It's all because of secularism.
Oh, okay. Yeah, people just chose not to have children anymore. I'm sure it has nothing to do with economic circumstances. I'm sure it has nothing to do with economic influences or any of their actual tangible realities that prevent them from having children because children are expensive. I'm sure it's because of secularism. It's because they're not religious anymore. They just... When you're not religious, guys, you lose the will to fuck. It's true. It's true. People who don't believe in God don't fuck. It's true. Life becomes meaningless.
Religious people have children. The secular are preoccupied with the climate change, and
yeah, we're too busy thinking about climate change to have sex, guys. It's true. It's true. I approach women at my local debutante ball, and I talk about you look magnificent in the slowly dying grandeur of our planet's ecosystem. And yeah, then people don't sleep with me. It's weird. It's weird. I mean, true, I'm not religious and I don't fuck, but I mean, I'm an outlier. I'm an outlier.
So they'll reduce carbon emissions and no longer have a Western civilization. We live in the realm of the absurd.
Wait, is PragerU? I wouldn't be surprised, but is he a...
Emissions, and no longer have a Western civilization. And so they'll reduce carbon emissions and no longer have a Western civilization.
But we'll have a planet, Dennis Prager. Even in your worst case scenario, we'll have a planet, won't we? Oh, I hate these people. All right.
We live in the realm of the absurd. So I would not make the prediction that you did. But I will say religious people have to know how to make the case for religion. And very few do. For most religious people, religion is a habit, not an intellectual conviction. And I blame religious people as much as I blame the anti-religious, in other words, 50-50, for the decline in Judaism and Christianity, because it has been rendered habit rather than an intellectual, moral powerhouse that it is. So I guess this is a good chance for me to tell you, if you want to know this in depth, please read my 2 volumes, third volume is coming out next year, of my commentary called The Rational Bible. It is completely reason-based. It explains the most important text to Judaism and Christianity, the first 5 books of the Bible. Everything else is based on those 5 books. It's called The Rational Bible. Genesis and Exodus are out. Deuteronomy is coming out next year. Even if you're an atheist, you owe it to the West and you owe it to yourself.
What is... I'm genuinely curious what Dennis Prager thinks the West means, right? Because, like, we looked into like the neo-Nazi Chris Chapman, I think his name is, who was declaring the Proud Boys are now the Proud Goys. This is like some real like Western civilization is like what they call white civilization, to be more politically correct in their circles, right? Like they talk about the West like it's some fetishized unified thing. The West has never been a unified thing, guys. Like, England and France fought a war for literally 100 years. Germany was a collection of squabbling city-states until, like, 100 years ago. Like, Kyle Chapman, thank you. Like, this idea of a unified West is a fiction. And it largely has always been that way. Europeans fucking hate each other, and they're all white. It's just racists reading back on history and ascribing unity to them because they're all white to us now. Despite the fact that even back then, you know, Germans were considered dirty barbarians. Like, literally our founding fathers wrote about how Germans were dirty savages and they shouldn't mix their blood with the blood of Americans because American blood was good, pure Anglo-Saxon stock. You know, like this ascription of unity to these people is absolutely ludicrous. And to say that, like, oh yeah, they were united by Judeo-Christian values. No, they weren't. Are you kidding me? Europe hates Jews. They literally genocided Jews. For centuries, Jews were a wandering, disenfranchised class of people until Christians realized they could be used for banking because interest wasn't illegal, wasn't like a sin for Jews. Like, this is wild to ascribe, like, unity to people who genuinely hated each other on the basis of Judeo-Christian values? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
To see what an intellectual explanation of those books consists of. All right, Amanda, 38, St. John, Indiana. Hello, Dennis. My husband and I have 8 children. 8 boys, to be precise.
8
that
children.
That is mind-blowing.
Too many children.
8 boys. Amanda, so, like, do you, like, escape to girlfriends? You are living in Testosterone City. That is mind-blowing. I wonder how many people have had 8 boys or 8 girls. We love having a big family and feel it is a blessing from God that he has entrusted us with so many children. It is a blessing. However, when we go anywhere, strangers look at us like we have 2 heads. Now, that is interesting. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. We get all sorts of questions and comments.
Well, it's because you have 8 kids. It's not like that. You understand, like that makes you an outlier, right? Of course you're going to get questions and comments.
Some are nice, but most are not. That I have to say, I'm a little surprised. Why would someone make a not nice, first of all, to make a not nice comment to a stranger? takes a particularly ugly human being. But a not nice comment over having 8 children? Women act shocked that I would choose to give birth 8 times and be a homemaker. It was not that long ago in America, so it must be then, I guess, women making these comments. I believe that. I can't imagine a man making a comment to a family.
It's a not nice comment, though. Holy fuck, that's
which is one of the reasons,
yeah.
by the way, that I've never bought the idiocy that women are superior to men. Both sexes have wonderful human beings and...
Well, no... Wait, what idiocy that... Does he think that it's a common view that, like, people think women are superior to men? I don't think that's a super common view, Dennis Prager.
Both sexes have disgusting human beings, and that's the way it is. It was not that long ago in America that large families were the norm. When do you think that changed, and why are large families now looked on as strange? Thanks for your thoughts. I love listening to you. It changed after the 50s as America went secular left. It's a combination.
No. It changed after the 1950s, and women were expected to enter the workforce. Because now you can only have like if you're married and you have kids, like you need to provide for the kids. Like, so yeah, if your partner has, if you're wealthy enough from one job for your partner to stay at home and take care of 8 kids, that's a super rare condition now. Back in the 1950s, you could like work at a convenience store and go to college. What are you talking about, Dennis Prager? It's not because of the secular left. It's because of the economic realities that changed. This is wild.
Of secularism and leftism, and you represent what they loathe, a family-based life. You see, if you were the CEO of a fashion design firm, whoa, that is a big deal. But that you are raising 8 human beings to be good citizens, good human beings, oh, that's what a waste of a life. You understand how perverse it is? Now, you should really get a life if you're a young woman. Major in gender studies.
The weird, like, projection people on the right do to people on the left is deeply disconcerting to me. Like, it's really weird to, like, yeah, I don't think leftists look down on people who have a lot of kids. There are plenty of women out there who like want to be like homemakers. That's fine. You can do that. It's totally fine. It's just not as common because people don't have the income anymore.
Then you will really have an important life. Whereas having kids, having a husband and kids, what a waste. That's how sick it's become. It's all inverted. It's truly inverted. Leftism is a form of moral chaos. Ben, 19, Westminster, Colorado. Hello, Mr. Prager and the world's most famous dog, Otto. Yeah.
Good boy. Best part of the video
Otto's
right there.
immediate response to hearing his name must move you. I would like to begin by saying your fireside chats have brought a lot of joy and wisdom into my life. Excellent. I am currently reading your book, Think a Second Time, and I recently ordered Happiness is a Serious Problem. Thank you on both. Think a Second Time is 44 essays on 44 subjects. It's the perfect introduction to my thoughts on a lot of subjects. Think a Second Time. I was curious if you talk about insecurities in that book, the book on happiness. I was also wondering if you could give a short answer on how you personally deal with insecurities. Thank you, and God bless all those at PragerU. Thank you. God has blessed all those at PragerU. I think they feel it. Isn't that right to say? It's a very good question. I don't address the issue of insecurities in the happiness book. And you have prompted me to raise that issue on my happiness hour so I could talk it over with people who call in from the millions of listeners. I've gotten a lot of wisdom, massive wisdom, from my listeners. So I will raise that issue. Everyone on earth has insecurities. Everyone. And part of the antidote, I suspect, is the great famous idea, know thyself. See, I knew at a very early age what I wasn't good at and probably would never be good at. And what I did was concentrate on what I was good at. And I simply allowed, and I'm not saying this is a perfect answer at all to your question, but I'm referencing my own life because that's the life I know best. And what I would do is, by excelling in certain areas, the areas where I wasn't excellent or felt insecure in became less important. Everyone needs an area to feel good about themselves in. And by the way, I believe that there are 2 things that allow that. You earn it. That's the biggest. But also, you may have it built in. If you if you are endowed with perfect pitch, I'll use a musical example. It's a gift. You can give 50 kids piano lessons, and 3 of them are gifted pianists. 47 are not.
This is actually
but they can still learn to play the piano nicely, but very few are gifted. But the gifted, I know musicians, so a lot of them are very secure in their music, but not necessarily as secure socially. They would feel very funny getting up in front of a group and giving a speech. I would have the opposite. I find talking to groups effortless, and on the other hand, I knew at an early age I was never going to be a good instrumentalist. That's why I learned to conduct, because that was my way of playing an instrument, the orchestra. I think focusing on what you can do well will help you. And no, this will also help. Everybody has insecurities. That comes with the deal when you're born. So I hope all of this was thought-provoking. Thanks for being with me. I'm Dennis Prager. This is Otto. I'll see you next week.
We did it.
Thank you for watching this video.
We're alive. We're on the other side. How many of you have died? Post F in chat if you died.